I got to get some clips out of this stream, so we're gonna move forward and talk about the rewriting Ripley campaign.
Anybody else want to go back and rewind? What was it, like a month or two ago? And that one viral tweet went out, and I said, "This feels like an organized campaign that's coming after guys like Gary and Drinker and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera." Here we are with rewriting showing up again after 2 years.
You could think about it. There was that Looper
They're gonna be
video.
back.
Do you remember the Looper video? I'm only bringing.
That's what I'm talking about. That's part of this. That's what I'm saying. Yes, thank you, Rhino. Yes.
The Looper video.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I think this is all part of the same thing. That's where I'm coming from.
You know why I think they removed the video was because they realized that it's basically going against the TOS.
Well, like I said, a lawyer told him that's fucking slander. You might want to take that down.
Do that. Yeah.
All right, let's watch this. It's like 3 minutes. We'll just react to it.
They're all
this was really, really funny for me to see this. So there's been a campaign going on for quite a while to get content creators who have been critical of the new Star Wars completely demonetized.
An alarming number of users are exploiting their platforms to spread hate.
There's been a rampage of vitriol that we have faced since the show.
And this is from 2024.
This is what the Acolyte exists for. It's not here for story. It's not here to build the lore. For crying out loud, look at the cast right here. Having as little white males as possible in this cast.
You know, Lucasfilm, you know, the retarded Avengers assemble over there. Back.
He accused Jones of playing the victim.
Actress Amanda Stenberg playing the victim card.
They can do nothing other than play the victim. Amanda Stenberg, the adult pretender.
Pathological sociopath.
She plays it all the time.
Well, and that's where I pointed out, like the other day, I think when you were there, Flash, too. I don't know if you remember if we talked about it when you were there on Friday when we talked about this, but like I said then, like nobody was talking about her until she did her damn diss video. Right? Like, I don't remember anybody saying shit about her other than I think you guys and a few other people pointed out that she didn't really.
She's a shitty actor.
Yeah, I was gonna say that she didn't do enough to really differentiate between the twins. Is all I remember you guys bringing up before her fucking video.
Yeah,
she's a garbage actor. Like she's on the same level. And Brie Larson actually can act, but in Captain Marvel, there was like a decision to have her show no emotion whatsoever. Like she had the same face. The difference between Amandla and Brie is Amandla, that's her default. She can't act.
No.
Like it's.
But see, they also
no one directed her to be like that. That's just the best she can do.
They also want to say that there was review bombing before the show even came out. You got to remember how this show was being promoted. And that's why people were talking about it the way they were talking about it. When Leslie Headland comes out and says, "Oh, it's going to reflect my own queerness," and that's how the show was being promoted. It's like, how can you expect us not to react to that when you're not even telling us how Star Wars this is or what the story's going to be about? It's all just, and then you get those interviews of, it's the gayest Star Wars. These were all things that it was how the show was being promoted. So I don't know how they can expect us not to give our true thoughts on it, Yeah,
Moses Ingram too. She's a shitty actress as well.
It's Reva, right?
You know, the best way to avoid the criticism directed towards anybody is to hire somebody that can act. She was a shitty actress.
Well, and they pre-prepared her for it. They set her up. They're like, "Oh, you're going to get all this racist vitriol.
You're going to get racist coming after you."
Here's the thing, though, right? They say that the Star Wars fandom is racist because of Amanda Stenberg is black. However, look at Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. There's black actors in that show, and nobody cares. Because the show is well written.
The sea snake guy.
You can, but hang on, you can even go even further. You can isolate it just to Star Wars and be like, what about Lando?
The thing with House of the Dragon, and I remember that guy that played him for a minute was like about to get mad, and I remember people were saying like, I don't know about this, and then here's what happened: the show started, and that guy like killed it, and everybody's like, okay,
yeah,
all right, I'm with it, let's go. And there's some people that don't like it, because they did do a race swap with him, but it was fine.
Which character?
The sea snake.
Corliss.
Oh
yeah.
What's his name?
He's great in that show. He's one of my favorite characters.
The guy that plays. He's also in Game of Thrones. The guy that did Bayek's voice in Assassin's Creed Origins. Like, he does a great job in that show too. And like, like I said, like there's black people in Game of Thrones, and no one gives a shit because they're like
Well,
the writing's
you
good, the
have to
characters.
pull up another show to bring up the fact that all this that they're saying right now. How come Rosario Dawson? The only hate she got was from all the woke people because of something that happened, like with her and some trans person that was harassing her and her family. But she wasn't going out there insulting the fans, and she wasn't going out there making diss tracks being like, oh, it's people don't like it because I'm black. No, people didn't like the Ahsoka show because it broke the lore.
It's
the same reason for Acolyte.
They did.
Exactly.
They race swapped him, but the difference is, and I agree, it was done to just race swap, but the guy is so good that it's like, whatever. I was okay with it because he was really good. Like,
it doesn't become the identity of the character.
Yeah.
And not just that, like they actually did kind of go and try to explain it. Like the dude went and like fucked somebody off some Caribbean island or something. Like George Martin,
hell yeah,
wrote
brother.
it in.
It's not like they race swapped him.
There's other things to get. I was okay with it. And I understand some people aren't, but I'm not like a huge Game of Thrones fan. Like I just like the shows.
But like you
But
also can't.
he
say
did
the
a
Star
really
Wars
good
fans
job.
don't like black people because
he was like the most
majority of
interesting
fans,
character.
Like,
out of a lot of them to me.
let's be real. With the new trilogy of movies, who here actually like? I really wanted Finn to be the main character over
I
Rey.
think everyone did.
Yeah, because Finn was far more interesting than her. But then they just like ruined him, and then he just runs around screaming Rey autistically for 3 movies, and that's it, right?
Well,
And I
yeah,
was really
it's
hoping that he would
been-
be like the main character, but he's not.
It's been the biggest fumble of any franchise, I truly believe. Like, I know that people say that there are other franchises out there that are in worse shape than Star Wars, which I do find hard to believe personally, but I would have to say it is one of the biggest fumbles of all time with this franchise, going all the way back to, a character like Finn. It's quite incredible to see. And then, the other thing too with the whole thing is that they say this isn't made for you, and then they don't show up the people that you've just said that this isn't made for you, and then they wonder why the ratings are so low. The people that this is made
It's like
for.
the Charlie's Angels meme where they're like, straight white men, it's not for you. And then the next day, why aren't straight white men watching this show?
But I was told there was more of them.
That modern audience,
I think I was talking about this on Valiant Renegade. It's the same thing. Like we were talking about Concord and Dustborn and stuff on Valiant Renegade a few days ago, and we were just saying that like if they always say these things fail, these these identity politically driven things, but it's like you guys don't support it. The people that want these things, they don't go out and support.
No, they
these
do.
things. So,
No, that's the thing, Endymion. They actually do. But the problem is that it's such a small amount of people that it doesn't. You don't think every single person watched The Acolyte that was like in that woke side of entertainment now? Every single one of them showed up.
There's
some of the actual Star Wars fans, and they let it be heard in regards to what they had the problems with, whether it be reviewing it on Rotten Tomatoes or actually making videos. And their very small amount of people that they did have watched the show couldn't even get Rotten Tomatoes past 15%. That's how small they are. This new audience that Lucasfilm wants, the shippers, the Twilight fans. That's who Star Wars is now made for.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm noticing it too. It's the
100%.
same thing with Rings of Power. Like Rings of Power's official Twitter page right now. They just posted similar shit. Like Acolyte, where they're
don't
like,
spoil that.
ship it.
I got that to pull
Yeah,
up
it's
later
just,
when we talk
my
about
God,
that.
it's awful nonsense. all of it.
Empathic feminist liars in popular culture.
Almost like
I love how they're cutting in clips with an ABC report of the Ghostbusters movie from 2016 to try to make people think that there's actually an NBC report about how bad these guys are for not
it's so
liking
funny.
a
He
Star
nailed it.
Wars show.
Terrible performance, her attitude driving away fans.
this is just gaslighting.
These are terrible, talentless people that we are instructed we must like unless. And then sort of subtext.
And it's this interview with this guy that has nothing to do with this for any
Yes.
reason. Milo Yiannopoulos has nothing to do with Star Wars, but
Look,
there's just
did
an
you see
interview.
how they were doing the Nazi salute?
Yeah.
So they're trying to make it look like Geeks and Gamers and Nerdrotic are Nazis by having
right,
him in
Nazi.
here. Yeah.
Well, you notice how they like specifically left out anyone that wasn't a straight white dude when they made their hit piece.
But also, too,
Of
there are
course.
so many other
Yeah.
channels out there, Anna, that are smaller channels like my own that are saying exactly the same thing that these people are saying, but why aren't I going after? Because I don't have 100,000, 1 million subscribers.
They've been really targeting Nerdrotic because I mean, to be real, he's the most effective. He's got the biggest platform. So that's the biggest one that they want to go after.
This is what I've been referring to as the final re for a while, right? Because they tried this a while back. It didn't work when Gary and Critical Drinker and all of us were, at much smaller numbers than we are now, especially Gary and Critical Drinker, right? Now they see that this is it. This is their last stitch effort, right? Is to try and shut us all down. If they can get like Gary or, Critical Drinker shut, they can get either one of them. I can't talk right now, but if they can get either one of them shut down, that's a victory for them, right? And then at the end of the day, it's not going to happen. We all know that because all these individuals, regardless of how many subscribers they have, it doesn't even equal out to as nearly as many as what Gary has, right? So why the fuck would YouTube listen to them?
So it makes people in the chat saying why Gary over Critical Drinker. Critical Drinker is effective as well, but he doesn't hit it as hard as Gary does. Yeah. Like he does more reviews, like straight up reviews.
Friday Night Tights is the most watched show in our circle.
Yeah, biggest show.
That's why.
Yeah. So like when I put it like that, it's like Gary talks about the woke stuff a lot more than Critical Drinker does. He does more straight up like reviews, and Gary does those too. But Gary also talks about a lot of the woke shit as well.
But Gary
he has
also
more is like Nerdrotic Daily and stuff. He puts out a lot more videos.
But Gary also targets like the articles and stuff like that,
Yes.
where it's Critical Drinker is more targeting the actual entertainment. And yes, he does say
both
the
are
message,
effective,
and
but
all of that. But
both are still under attack, and the other reason is because these guys have been on Piers Morgan and other shows, which legitimizes them, and that's what scares these motherfuckers. Is once we're legitimized, then they're like, "Well, fuck, now we can't shut them down, right?"
Yeah.
So they can try all day long, and now their new thing is, well, we don't want them to lose their channels. We just want them to be demonetized, which they're probably saying because they realize they fucked up terms of service. But even still, that's still breaking terms of service. So, but notice how YouTube's turning a blind eye to that too. See on the other side of this.
Came out saying, "I had nothing to do with the creation of this thing." That she's backpedaling big time.
Of course she is.
You going on with him as if he's related to this topic.
I am not a racist, though I'm frequently told that I am one. But I am in favor of oppressing whatever the fuck this is. Because
So they made a video to demonetize. They sent this to YouTube. They said, "Hello, dear YouTube. The Star Wars community would, at the very least, appreciate a formal response or update in regards to our well-documented and pressing concerns about YouTubers pushing prolonged harassment on your platform." And so basically they edited together this whole thing with an interview with a guy from 2016 to paint the people that are criticizing the new Star Wars show as being racist and terrible people. And YouTube has reached out and they have responded publicly. Thanks for reaching out. Just heard back and confirmed that this content is not violative and it will remain up. We totally understand that you might not agree with this decision, but we reviewed this video very carefully against our policies. Man, that is fucking crazy. All you need to do is click the triple dot right here and then say, "Don't recommend this channel anymore." And then you never see that again.
Great point. Like, why can't you? And that's the thing. It's not that they don't
what it's
want
about.
the channel. They don't want this messaging out there because they think that if you shut down Gary, us, Geeks and Gamers,
it's the same reason they want to shut down Trump.
Then it'll explode and people will like these shows.
Or Elon Musk after he bought Twitter.
It's because they know that they don't have a moral ground to stand on. They have no way of actually combating what they're saying because they know that deep down what Drinker says, what Nerdrotic says, yada, yada, yada,
truth.
all of us as well, it's the truth. They know that objectively they can't fight against it because they know it's the truth. So they're like, well, we can't win in a one-on-one argument, so what can we do? Oh, we'll just burn everything down, basically.
It's not only that. I honestly think that I think a lot of it is jealousy, and I think
100%.
Anyone can go and watch any of these people, like just the way Molly is, the way Star Wars Explained is. A lot of these people, they are all
no
Disney.
interest.
Well, yeah, that's it. But they're all Disney shills that get flown out to events, red carpet.
That's what
events,
I think too.
And They're all fucking losers in real life, and the only time they've ever been somewhat cool is their little platforms on the internet. And yes, I know Star Wars Explained has millions of subscribers, but I mean, they're so insecure about the fact that someone like Gary, who doesn't have the access that they do, gets more views and is more popular and has more of a hold, or like people listen to what he says. And they trust him because he's not a fucking paid shill like they are, and they can't fucking stand it. Molly seethes with it.
That clip, Anna, that you put on Twitter of Molly saying, no, they don't, it's not the criticism, they just don't like lesbians, or whatever it was that she said, that proves that she actually hasn't watched any of the content. She actually just thinks that they are actually saying those things, as opposed to actually going in and seeing.
None of them watch the content. None of them do.
No,
because they're in an echo chamber.
Because
right?
the biggest criticisms of this show have been it's shit writing, it's shit acting, it's shit directing, not by all of the actors either, and it's law breaking, canon breaking, continuity breaking. But they can't have that for some reason, because they don't. I don't understand it, because if you're a Star Wars fan and you see those issues, well, then it's obvious, isn't it? Don't you want it to be better than it actually
You're overlooking
is?
the biggest point of this whole thing, and that is that, basically that it doesn't matter that it's lore breaking and all that shit. It's the fact that they want to shut us up. Disney does not want us talking.
Yeah.
They are getting access. I feel like they're being influenced by Disney.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
Yeah. So
what's funny now is what's funny though is we're at the point now where they're openly telling people to flag.
That's what I mean.
Report. I saw
it's
some
desperation.
Clip.
It's
I saw a clip from
One
this.
at
I saw a clip from this like lowest fucking loser. Basically, it was from one of those like goalpost accounts or whatever, and this guy's like talking about going and reporting the channel and all this shit. Like, we have to start an adpocalypse now. Like, that's the angle now. Like, to try to stop everybody. So we'll try to flag them down and get an adpocalypse. Contact the advertisers. That's what Ripley says they're going to do next. Now is try to go after the.
It's literally what I just said. They can't win, so they want to burn everything down. That's because they know they can't win on the one-on-one.
Well, in their whole manifesto, where they were saying like YouTube and your advertisers, they need to be aware of this, and it's like, oh, so you want to alert them? Hey, these are the people that are making you money. Like, all that is you're just telling YouTube, hey, you should, promote these guys more because they make you a shit ton of money.
Well, that's what I was saying, is compared to any of these people, individuals that are, after, Gary and Critical Drinker or us or anybody for that matter, any of us, right? Like, that's the biggest thing that bothers them. I mean, even look at that whole, I don't even know where their, camp signature campaign's at, but hell, all of us signed it to renew the Acolyte. That's the other thing. And that's another reason.
I signed that one.
That I know.
I signed the other one to make it go away.
Yeah, but
decanonize it.
Yeah, here we go with Exhibit
what? 70,000. It's 70,500.
Now, I guarantee you most of the reviews that the bigger YouTubers have done have got a hell of a lot more than 70,000 views on them, right? Like, that just goes to show you how popular the show wasn't.
I'd like the Acolyte to get renewed,
but
man.
That was the point I was getting to. That's the point I was getting to. Like,
I know, but
it was Exhibit G is basically, why would we want the Acolyte canceled? That's their argument, is that we Gary and Neurotic,
not me,
and Critical Drinker and all of us in this YouTube sphere, all of us negative, toxic YouTubers were the ones who got this show canceled. Remember that. Yet we're the ones who are grifting off this show somehow. So which is it?
Hell yeah, I grifted off this show.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So their own argument doesn't make sense. So that's another exhibit going.
Well, that's the thing, Tom. They're retarded.
Well, it's not just that they're retarded. It's that they have ulterior motives. It's that Disney is pushing this bullshit, and this is their last ditch effort to try and shut us down.
I was able to make a video every day on the Acolyte because there was always something happening, always some fucking loser crying about it, making some big stink and getting owned on social media, or something stupid happened with these journalists getting mad about it. Like, it was fun. I had fun covering the Acolyte, and I didn't even fucking watch it.
Yeah.
I was able to talk about the low views, the ratings, and the backlash and the meltdowns.
There is nobody that wants the Acolyte to be reviewed more than people who cover the Acolyte.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
want
you know what I
season
mean?
6. Like, let's do it every year.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
I want
But
you
this
to
is
bring
the
back
thing, you
Leslie
think about it.
Headland, the
about
writers,
it.
everybody
They got-
that was involved in season 1. I want them all to come back.
They got
Exactly.
70,000 signatures on this petition, right? Think about the size of the Star Wars fan base. You go back to The Force Awakens and the box office for The Force Awakens. Think about the size of the Star Wars fan base. 70,000 people. I mean, even if they get to 100,000 people, I still, and that's probably got what, 5,000 to 10,000 people that actually are like us that signed it, that think that it's shit, but we want a second season. It's just crazy to think like that's probably 15% of the audience. The 15%
That's the whole point I was making, Rhino. Exactly. Yeah. It's like it's not even a fucking drop in the bucket.
Yeah. Tiny.
Star Wars is just dead. And
Andre said it directly
seen-
the other morning. He said for that campaign to even get any like steam behind it and any way of getting the show renewed, they would have had to have get over 100,000 signatures in the first 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah, that's not happening.
I wanted to share this too, just really quickly. This was Manny Jacinto at Dragon Con.
It's his life mission. Let's finish this out first.
No, it's different to his life mission. This is what it's. Oh, finish this and then we'll go into that just really quickly.
All this because of a shitty Star Wars show that nobody watched. YouTube
Right.
is platforming racists and Nazis. If I ever catch the YouTube CEO, man, people on the internet really, they're really
that's a
wild
straight up death threat, like saying,
Isn't it?
Yeah.
out. That's actual death threat. That's crazy. Like, I wouldn't type that. This is, in
No.
my opinion, a massive,
No,
huge YouTube
not at
W.
all.
Thank
My
fucking
God,
God, we
what
are
the hell?
moving past the time where criticizing things and then having them mislabeled as some bullshit doesn't have any power anymore.
Well,
That's
this just
true.
reminds
That's
me
ending.
of all the trash
Hold on a
shit.
second, Tom. You
Yeah, sorry.
remember like back in 2020 and in between 2016 and 2020, like that was a real time where like they did have a lot of power, and if they came after you, you might get demonetized for criticizing this stuff. But now, like, that is over. Like, this was a real coordinated campaign to try to take people down. And if this wasn't Elon Musk Twitter, if we were, 4, 5, 6 years ago,
imagine.
this probably would have worked.
Yep.
No,
This probably would have worked.
I agree. I honestly, I've said this many times in videos already. Elon Musk buying Twitter is a big reason why we're able to have discussions like this now, because it has spilled over into every other social media, whatever platform there is now. There's a lot more free speech being allowed. Like you said, comparing this to 2020 Twitter, you can't. 2020 Twitter, you said anything out of line and it was like your account's gone. You know what I mean?
You could get banned for using the wrong pronouns.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And what
just
was
remember
fucked
people-
up
yeah.
with that,
Yeah.
what was really fucked up is just having interactions with people. How many people do you interact with? Do you go check their bio? So you literally would have to go check and see what they put in there at a whim too, by the way, because that's something you can just change on a whim in your profile. So you could get people deplatformed on there by just changing your pronouns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about. It's like him buying it. People can say whatever they want. Oh, I hate Elon Musk, whatever they want to say. Who cares? Him buying it has honestly made things for the better. Has it also have had an increase in, let's say, hate speech to a certain degree? Yes. But hey, you take the good with the bad. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do? So I think
Elon Musk is how rich people used to be, where they used to want people to like them and they would be like celebrities.
Well,
and
he's
stuff,
about freedom of speech, really, at the end of the day, and that's what it's scaring
And
the
that's the
hell out of
thing,
them.
it's
You
like-
guys are
it's
right.
exactly,
Yeah,
'cause
they
they
can't
don't
control
want
the
freedom of
narrative this
speech.
time. Yeah,
Exactly. Like when something happens, right? Before, like in 2020, for example, if something were to happen, they could just delete your account, ban you, whatever, and then the message was whatever they wanted, and it controlled people. And now, because we can actually talk about things, that's a big no-no. And now, of course, you have Rumble that exists and Kick that exists and so on and so on. And it's probably a big reason why nobody really uses Threads, because it's owned by Meta or Facebook. Because if people don't know this, when you sign up for Threads, you have to give them like your full legal name, where you work, all this other stupid shit. And people go, well, that's fine. You know why they're doing that? It's because if you say anything out of line, they can go, "Oh, you said that? Okay, where do you work? Oh,
Let's
that's where you
contact
work.
your
Okay,
boss and
that's
see
it.
how he
You're
feels
screwed now."
about it.
Why do you think no one wants to use Threads? That's why. Like, come on, let's be real. You know what I mean? So it's so stupid. But I'm just glad that common sense is becoming common again. Let's put it that way.